Yeah, now stand and cheer for your Talking Basketball podcast. Welcome back to this episode. This is the second part of a doubleheader. If you haven't heard the first, go back and listen to it. If you can't be bothered, that's all right. Just keep listening to this one, and hopefully you enjoy it. And don't forget, like and subscribe. I hate it when people say that. I'm not talking 83, 84. Maybe in a few years' time. Yeah. Maybe in a few years' time. That's when it's like, I mean, when you get to like 87, 88, it's like, come on, these guys are arguably. And when we did the Bad Boys podcast, we very much looked at it from a Boston perspective. When we get to that bit, I'm going to look at it from a Lakers perspective. Yeah. So anyway, Byron Scott, absolutely. You know what I love about Byron Scott is just the way he talks. He is such a cool guy. He just seems calm, collected. I mean, look, he's an NBA bloody coach. Yeah. So, you know, why wouldn't he be? And what I also love about Byron Scott, just moving off subject, he is playing for the Lakers when a new kid turns up in Kobe Bryant.
That's what I'm saying.
For Kobe Bryant's first game, Byron Scott was there.
Yeah.
And for Kobe Bryant's last game, who was coach? Byron Scott. And there's a great moment. I saw it the other day, actually. Great moment. Kobe comes off and Byron Scott, but after he's got his, was it 60 or 61 point game? Whatever that was. His last ever NBA game.
Oh, yeah, 60, I think.
60, 61, something like that. And Byron Scott, look at the video. He comes off and Byron Scott, I think he subs him with like 10 seconds left, or so he gets that moment. And Byron Scott puts his arm around him and he's saying something in his ear. But you can see it's like, wow, that's whatever he said, that looks like a moment, you know, for those two guys.
He says to him, I wanted 70.
He was like, you should have passed the ball. I told you to pass it.
Get back out there, 70.
Anyway,
do it.
So, a fact that I thought you might like, and I don't know when this happened, but my guess it happened around now.
Yes.
Yeah. I know in this drama TV show, they have it a bit later, like in an NBA finals. I don't think it was then. I think it's around now, but I wanted to share this moment because I thought you would like to hear it, because you'd go, oh my God, you just go nuts. So Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he was a huge Jazz fan. Did you know that?
Yeah.
And he had a huge, amazing Jazz collection.
Cool.
Yeah. Huge collection.
Yeah.
Of all, I mean, look, he's an NBA star. We know what that. If someone's saying he's got a good collection, he's NBA star, you know that's going to be pretty good.
Yeah. Limitless is the word that you think of, isn't it?
His house burns down, he loses his entire collection.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh.
He loses his entire Jazz collection.
Literally melted. That'd all been vinyl. That'd have been pressings you can't even find.
Yeah.
Oh. That is.
Outside his house, you got Red Auerbach with a cigar. No, I made that bit up, Mark. That didn't happen. I made that up.
What, the cigar?
That Red was outside his house watching his house burn down with a cigar. That didn't happen. I made that bit up. But I thought you'd like.
But he lost. He did lose all his stuff.
Yeah. His house burnt down and his entire Jazz collection. I think that was. I don't know what would have bothered him more, but it was.
Of course, it's going to bother you.
No. But I mean, I don't know what he would have had in the house. That would have been. I think the Jazz collection would have been up there for him. But I know you would have liked to know that stat.
I mean, if you're a player the next game, you'd bring a record and put a record on the front where your seat is, wouldn't you?
Well, in this drama show.
Oh, do they do stuff like that? Do they?
They have like a load of the players and people around start bringing them Jazz records. I don't know if that's true.
No, I was saying as in to mock them, because that's the sort of thing they do nowadays.
Oh.
Like you bring a record player and be like, Do you want this? Like the Birdie song.
I wonder if Jordan would. Or Red Auerbach. He would have got. There you go. And it would have been a really crap one as well.
It would have been like an interview with Red Auerbach on vinyl.
Yeah.
There you go. There's a start a new collection. That's the first one.
Yeah. Anyway, so I thought you'd like that. That was a little thing.
Love it.
Picked up on. So we're now heading into the.
We don't care about the season. Let's head into the playoffs.
Yeah, it pretty much is the playoffs. So 1983-84 season, Mark.
I would like you to... So it's 83-84 season. I would like to stop you before the playoffs.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because this was the first year of the All-Star game with a slam dunk competition.
Oh, yeah.
Larry Nance won. Larry Nance, first person to win dunk competition. Thought you want to know that?
I really want to know
Larry Nance from Phoenix Suns, great player, Larry Nance. Great player.
Yeah.
But, first player. And then they had the NBA championship with the dunk competition. That was the first year they did that. So again, it's for those who haven't followed the NBA or...
How are Magic and Larry going up against each other in the All-Star competition?
Yeah.
What was that like?
Do you know who wins the MVP for the All-Star game?
I'll go Larry.
No, Isaiah Thomas.
Oh.
Like, that's what I mean.
Were they actually going for each other?
I don't know. I don't know. But it was East versus West, and East beat them. And
yeah, I was thinking East would win.
Yeah.
That time.
You think you got Isaiah, you got Larry, and everyone like that. I don't think you'd have Isaiah and Jordan playing against each other. I mean, this is 83-84, so.
Well, there you go, Mark. Look, 1983-84 season. So we're going into this.
But we're talking, we've got dunk competitions that have fallen off, come back. There's awards, there's new awards coming out all the time with the NBA. We've seen quite a lot of recent changes in how the NBA's stuck. But it's been this same way for a very, very, very long time. And now we're going to the playoffs. One final change happened this year. In 83-84, they had 6 people who qualified for the playoffs. In 83-84, it was then 8. They moved it to which is what it is now. So that was the year. So the format that it is now, apart from the play-in, that's very obviously recent because
they want
COVID
LeBron
and stuff, and all that. Yeah, they want to keep LeBron happy. But prior to all that, it was 8.
Hang on, we shouldn't have said that. This is about the Showtime Lakers, and we're slagging off LeBron. We shouldn't have said that.
Why not?
Because this Lakers fans might listen to this.
Whatever. But the point is, it's
whatever.
Yeah, whatever. All of these rules, all of the way that the game is played now, they were still making these rules. They were still forming the 3-point line in 79, the way that the dunk competition came about, the way that the All-Star was the defensive player of the league. All these things we just take for granted as, that's that award again. It's like, this is where they all came from. It's all in this era. That's how big the 80s were for basketball. And it's also the first year that David Stern is commissioner of the NBA. Yes. So now the trophy is the Larry O'Brien trophy. And Paul is now wearing his glasses. So that means...
it's so much bigger. All my notes are so much bigger. But I got to give you the school teacher.
I'm going to edit that.
So lots of changes. It's evolving.
But David Stern is very important for, I think, basketball. We could do a whole thing on him, but,
Yeah.
Carry on.
So the 1983-84 season.
Season goes by. Very exciting.
Just trying to find my notes.
Denver Nuggets and Pistons did actually do the highest scoring game in NBA history in that year, believe it or not.
The what?
Highest scoring game in NBA history was actually played that year.
Oh, yeah.
It's the note I randomly wrote down. 186 to 184.
Wow. 186?
186 to 184. Literally no one's playing defense. I don't know what's going on there.
This was my note about this season. The Lakers, powered by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yes.
He broke the NBA's all-time total points during the season. I didn't write down what he got. Yes, he surpasses Wilt Chamberlain with 31,421 points.
Yep.
So, going into the playoffs, this is the first time that the Los Angeles Lakers meet the Boston Celtics since 1969, and that's when Jerry West won MVP, even though they lost the finals. Yes, that's what I wrote about this. I went back and looked at the regular season.
Yeah.
LA beat Boston both games in the regular season.
Okay.
And the other thing I wanted to highlight, because I think this is really important from a Los Angeles fan perspective, maybe even I don't know if the players would be thinking a bit like this perspective, but I'm sure they would actually. At this point, the Lakers are 0-for-7 in the finals against the Celtics.
Oh God.
They are 0-for-7. So I'm talking about all the time in the 60s. Every time.
Red Auerbach years, basically.
Because obviously the Lakers got into the finals and lost to other teams.
Yeah.
I think it was the Knicks. Wasn't it the Knicks? I think were one of them. But yeah, against the Celtics, they're 0-for-7 in the finals. So again, a bit like what we talked about, there's this huge weight.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh man, we're going up against the juggernaut now.
Built-in rivalry. Then you've got Magic and you've got Bird, who don't like each other, and they have their own rivalry as well. And
Well, yeah. I mean, I think at this point, Larry's like, I'm playing against you. I don't want to be friends at all.
No, that's what I'm saying. It was a total rivalry.
So yeah, and they are going up against Larry Bird and the Boston Celtics. And this goes 7, I'm going to say hard-fought games. And the Lakers, don't forget, are coming off last season where they've lost to the Philadelphia 76ers in a sweep. Here you go. Season ended 54 wins, 28. They beat the Kansas City Kings 3-0. They beat Dallas 4-1, and they beat Phoenix 4-2. And that's when they are in the NBA Finals.
And you know, Dallas beat to get into that was the first year that Dallas got in.
Oh, yeah.
And guess who they beat to get in?
No one cares.
Seattle.
Oh, there you go.
I've got 2 teams in.
Wow.
Yeah!
2 teams in one sentence. Now, I'm going to say it like I think it is. This is arguably the greatest ever NBA Finals of all time. NBA Final Series of all time. Larry's Boston Celtics with 62 wins, 20 losses. And this is the moment. The one everyone always remembers in this series is in Game 4 when Kurt Rambis is driving down, fast break, and Kevin McHale takes him out. That's the series
that's
that everyone remembers.
Yeah.
But you need to go back a few games. So,
God, you might be right. I've been thinking of you saying that's one of the best finals. It probably is, isn't it?
it's up there, isn't it? I mean, don't forget, this goes Game 7 against 2 juggernauts. At this point, just going back through my stats, at this point, 1, 2, 3 times the Lakers have been in the finals. 1 time Boston's been in the finals. But it was in the year the Lakers didn't get there. So yeah, and the huge thing about this is Boston had the better record in the season, so they've got home court advantage. And at this moment, they're still in the series, 2-2, 1-1-1. Yeah?
Yep.
Lakers win Game 1. Kareem, 32 points. Don't forget, he scores 32 points in the final. No one wanted him to sign him in the summer. He also gets most rebounds for the Lakers. Magic gets the most assists.
And you know what? I think it's unfair to say no one wanted him. No one was going to pay
for him,
that much.
And then Boston fight back. They win Game 2. Now, Game 3 is in the Forum. And this is the one which I think there's a transition with Larry where He misses a shot. He then gets hit. He moves out to the far end of the court. He misses another shot, and you can just see he's just deflated. But this is the one where the Lakers absolutely kick the crap out of the Lakers. Sorry, the Lakers kick the crap out of the Celtics, and they win 137-104. And this is where Bird turns around to the press and says, "We played like sissies tonight."
Oh, that's the one.
This is the one we said.
Yeah.
And obviously I love the bit where Larry's walking off and he's got like a ball or something. He throws it. You can see he's pissed off. Lakers are 2-1 up. But those words, "we played like a bunch of sissies." I wonder what the modern equivalent would have been now. But
oh no, it's not. Let's not go there.
Those words inspired the Celtics. And again, you go to game 4 in the Forum. That's when you got that classic moment I just said earlier where Rambis gets taken out and it all kicks off. I'm pretty sure it's in that game as well where Kareem swings an elbow. Larry turns around and goes, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
But at that point, it's like the Celtics are winning the mental battle.
I mean, everyone talks about the 80s and 90s and how physical the game was, and then it went away from it, and now it's kind of coming back, but not, and blah blah blah. But you when we're saying someone's throwing an elbow back then, it's not kind of someone's just caught something. It's like no, it looked like a wrestling move. It looked like someone's just turned around and just socked them in the face with an elbow.
This was physical. This was a physical game these days.
But it was quite raw. I think it's probably the best way to put it. Yeah, and so like nowadays, you see people getting fouls for flops and stuff. If you were hitting the floor back then, it's because you had a reason to hit the floor, that someone made you hit the floor. You didn't need to flop or anything like that.
Yeah, it was a very physical game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you wonder. I mean, I think the NBA is getting a lot stronger more recently.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But
like the last season and a half, 2 seasons, people have been saying, "Come on, this is ridiculous now," and it has got better. It's got more interesting. But at one point, it just,
I think the physicality in the 80s is, well, it's unquestionable.
Well,
unquestionably the one of the most physical eras of NBA, right?
Hence the bad boys.
Well, hence the birth of the bad boys anyway. So, and another point I wanted to raise with this is, I got a couple of quotes here for you. I know you'll like this. "All the things that you've heard about Red Auerbach, most of them were true." This is saying Lon Rosson, the Lakers director of promotions. He said, "The locker room smelled. It was dirty. It was disgusting. You'd have people call the players' hotel rooms in the middle of the night so they didn't sleep well before games. It was incredible. It was an incredible basketball mind, but very selfish." And I think it was, who was it? Was it Maxwell who said this? Who was it? Can't remember, but one of the Lakers said, "Whatever happened, when we were in Boston, everything happened. All the fire alarms were going off in the hotel.
Yeah.
Phone was ringing non-stop all the time. Everything that could happen was happening at Boston." And he goes, "It only seemed to be in Boston when all this crap happened." and this is another thing I thought you'd like. "First opened in 1928, the building was now drafty and poorly maintained, with brownish water often oozing from the taps and shower knobs that were rusty and decayed. When the Lakers came to Boston during the summer, the visiting locker room always felt as if it was 120 degrees. On cold winter days, it'd be 20 degrees.
That's brilliant. That's the way to do it. I mean, they literally nowadays are like, no, they have to have human rights and do that. Then it was, we need to provide you with somewhere to change and a toilet. Knock yourselves out.
I don't know if this is accurate, but I think this is the game where Kareem is being fed oxygen as well.
Oh, okay.
In the garden in one of these games. So anyway, this goes to game 7, and even though you've got a huge Lakers squad, Boston, beat the Lakers in Game 7, claiming the championship 4-3. Now, I'm just going to go back to that very first thing I said. Celtics win, and the Lakers are now 0-8 against Boston.
Wow.
So now you got to think about the fans and the players' mindset. We're 0-8.
Yeah, that's not ideal.
So when you're walking in for that championship and they're looking up, think of all those banners coming down.
Oh, God, yeah, because every single banner, it's like they beat us for that one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They beat us for that one. Oh,
that was last year. Yeah, that was the year we got beaten by Houston. Oh yeah,
I remember that game.
All the fans remembered the 6 before that.
Oh, that's
see what I mean. That's why I thought it was a really good point.
Yeah, because every single one of those is a direct their game. It's not just that's our banner. That's our banner. That
could have been ours. Yeah. I really like the way the Celtics banners just hang down. They're quite long. Whereas
you were saying about the old school ones.
The Lakers are quite, I don't want to say square, but rectangular.
Look more like a jersey out there, don't
they? Anyway, so I heard about this, and I was trying to research and see if it was true. It was about after Game 7.
Yeah.
The Lakers bus gets mobbed. Now, in this in this drama show,
I think it's called Showtime, isn't it?
Showtime with the Lakers, something like that. Yeah. They're getting mobbed and they're like just throwing bottles at them and stuff like that at the thing. Now, in this book, there's a book called When the Game Was Ours, written by Jackie McMullen. Johnson called the 100-person mob frightening as Celtics fans rocked the bus whilst throwing beer cans and rocks. In real life, however, the taunting crowd outside the Boston Garden wasn't angry about a Celtics loss. Instead, they were just obnoxiously celebrating the Celtics Game 7 win and NBA championship. Police had to clear the scene so the bus could move on. So it's still not what you want from the Lakers' perspective.
I don't think they haven't been to an English football game, clearly.
Yeah. Oh, it'd be nowhere near.
There was 100 people and they were cheering outside our bus. It's like, is that it? All right.
In the 80s, it was like, bricks getting thrown at you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
I'm just thinking of in comparison of where it is in that time.
But look, you're in a bus. There's 10 of you. I still got to be extremely intimidating. Like, looking back, Johnson says, our nerves were shot to begin with because of our devastating loss. And now everyone is freaking out because we were surrounded and we couldn't go anywhere. We just had to sit there and take it.
Okay. I'm going to put a little spin on this for a question. Sorry the yawn there, but it was well worth it. Who's the villain and who are the good guys? If you're looking at that final, who's the villain and who are the good guys in this? Is there, because I won't say there kind of always is. There's always someone that you go, they're the underdog, or there's I don't think there was one in those, was there? They were both absolute powerhouses.
Yeah, they're powerhouses, but look at it from...
But who was the villain? Was there a villain?
Because it depends what city you live in.
Yeah, well, I know. But
if you live in LA, they're like, look at these bloody... leprechaun-loving Celtics with Larry Bird, who looks like he's a farmer.
Hick from French Lick.
And all that.
But
and then
what if you're in Detroit?
I don't
or
know.
Philadelphia. What? That's what I'd love to know, because when we look at it, we're looking at it from, I'm from Philly and they've just beaten us. So I'm going to, LA playing them now. So we definitely we want them to win, because we don't want them they beat us or we beat them or whatever it is. So I can see how those rivalries would go, but there's usually
actually, I think there's definitely one person in Detroit would have been rooting for Magic. That's for sure. But in Boston, they would have been going, look at these primos. They come down here, they think they're Hollywood and all of that. That's what they're looking at those guys. Like, these teams hated each other.
They did.
They hated each other with a passion.
And they already had that rivalry from the 60s and stuff, and back from that when the Lakers became the LA Lakers and made that move, prior to those sort of the whole NBA, but with the ABA and everything joining, they still had those games and those matchups. They were both the most storied teams in each other's histories. So yeah, it's kind of like, it's already embedded, isn't it? And then you have Magic and everyone, and then you have all the older players, and LA are one type of lifestyle, as you say, and Boston have very passionate sports fans. I think it's fair to say. In the same way you have your New England Patriots, quite passionate sports fans.
Yeah, and
we just won't mention their baseball teams.
One of the things that's why I've highlighted this, because I don't think people think about it from this perspective. Because everyone, I think a lot of neutrals, I will say, go in and go, oh yeah, Hollywood, and have that view on it. Well, definitely the neutrals that I've heard of.
Okay.
But when I turn around and say the Lakers went into this and they were 0-7, they're looking up and going, that's the one we lost. That's the one they lost before that. They're the 6 they lost 10 years ago. And our GM, he was the one who played in all those games. I look at them completely different. They're now going into this next season 0-8 against the Celtics in the finals. You've got to look at them differently. I know they had that Showtime and everyone was like, Hollywood, and you know, they can't deal with the cold, they can't deal with the hot, they can't deal all that at the Garden.
But you do have your coach who won one of those banners in the rafters. You got to remember that. Pat Riley won with the Lakers.
He did, but
in '72.
But was that against the Celtics? I think
no, it wasn't. No.
It was against Philly.
Yes.
Or New York. I'm guessing, but I don't think that was against. I don't know. I could be wrong.
But all I mean is, we've got a leader. I wasn't thinking so much about who they were playing. What I'm thinking more is, we've got a leader who's put one of those banners in the rafters, and then we've got a GM who's put another one of those banners up in the rafters.
He's put like 6 up there.
Don't
forget, Jerry West lost against them 6 times, I think.
Oh, I know. But also, Jerry's the guy who's on our logo.
Yeah.
You know, we're wearing our GM, and so is every other player.
Jerry West must have been so pissed off at the end of that season. He must have sat there and gone, they beaten us again. Like,
yeah.
He must be sitting there going, this is painful.
You've got my logo on your chest. What else do you want?
Yeah. Anyway, right. So now this was just a random. So they lose the season. Sorry, they lose the playoffs to Celtics. Celtics win their 2nd championship with Larry, and the rest is history. Now, coming off the court, excuse me, there's a lot of talking. Now, I can't comment on what year this happened, but I've put it in this bit, and I think it's really interesting that around this time, I think Jerry Buss starts changing the way he structures his ticket pricing.
Yeah.
Again, he's now about to influence all sports. So he now starts charging, if you're courtside, you're now paying a lot more money than the person right at the top.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, he staggered it all, didn't he?
Now, again, I don't know when that is, but I think it's around this time. The other thing I want to say, I might be a few years early with this, but I do know that Jerry Buss at some point, he's struggling for money. He owes the bank money. And it's like, man, where are we going to get this money from? And he's going to like Genie and saying, can you take on running the forum? Can you get more people in? They're doing everything to fill it up to get more money. Yeah?
Yep.
And this is when, what we talked about this earlier, when he does his creative genius, which he takes his stadium called the Forum, sells the name to the bank. So he takes nothing and puts a name on it and makes money from it. And again, that's now just standard. That's just standard. And it's just worth I want to say the genius mind of Jerry Buss there to to come up. Like it's such a simple idea, but no one had done it until then. And it's standard now, isn't it? You go to arena, okay, it's going to be the McDonald's Arena or whatever it is. Anyway, so Mark, we are now in the 1984-85 season. The Lakers enter the season as runners-up of the 1984 NBA Finals, where they lost heartbreakingly to the Boston Celtics in 7 games. Again, highlighting they've increased their losing streak to the Celtics to 8.
Really?
Do you want to? Are you bothered about the season?
No one's bothered about the season. Literally, no one.
Season ends.
I mean, it's harsh to say.
Yeah, no, you're right. No one cares. I know what you mean.
I'm not saying it's not in history books because it's there, but is there anything really that significant that's happened that season?
I'm sure there is. Sure there is.
Really?
Well, I came up with a few about the ticket pricing and maybe the name change whenever that was. That's why I'm trying to so I'm not just going from playoff to playoffs.
No.
Anyway, season does end with the Lakers winning 62 games, losing 20 games. They go into the playoffs beating Phoenix 3-0, beat the Spurs 4-1, they beat Denver 4-1. Now, you just got to talk about the Lakers' mindset going into this game. So I'm going to go, and this is why I keep hammering on it. They're now 0-8 against the Celtics. 0-8. They're walking into that arena going, look at all the things, all the banners hanging down. So the mindset of those Lakers they're on a mission, and again they use their Showtime offense. Ran away with the Western Conference with those 62 wins. But you've got to talk about a slight evolution as James Worthy is now starting as small forward.
Yes.
And Byron Scott is becoming to get more minutes as the backup for Magic and Michael Cooper. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just going to highlight the Celtics. At this point, Celtics are in the finals again for a second consecutive year. Celtics win 63 games.
Wow.
For the second straight season, Larry Bird's won MVP. Kevin McHale has won your Sixth Man Award for the second year running. And he has made the transition from bench to starter.
Mm-hmm.
Danny Ainge has also emerged into the team.
Yep.
And that is what brings these two teams together into the final. What are you going to say?
And that is 84-85 season we're talking about here.
We are talking about the 85-86, the 84-85 season. Yes.
Okay. So I think we probably need to mention this is the 1984-1985.
Are we going to talk about Seattle?
No. This was the season that Michael Jordan first entered the league.
All right.
This was his first. That was when he was a rookie.
I just banged my knee.
I mean, probably the most significant player of all time.
I think, is he 4th in the draft?
Something like that. I mean, it just, whoever's like, oh, you had the option to take Michael Jordan? Yeah, I went for Bob Smith instead. Okay, good for you. But that was probably one of the biggest things that came out of it. And also the season before, going into this season, you've just mentioned about Larry playing. It's worth mentioning that Larry at this point had started having back issues. And the reason it's important is because the year prior, he'd been re-signed by the Celtics. Yeah, so in 83, they'd re-signed him for the 83-84 season. And that was the introduction of what they call bird rights. So I don't know if you've mentioned that at all anywhere, but that is quite important to the whole of the league. And if we do something on Celtics, we'll talk about him further. Go have a look about what the bird rights are. But essentially it meant that a team who was the incumbent team who owned a superstar could actually break the salary cap rule to be able to offer their superstar more money.
Oh, yeah.
Because otherwise, what you're saying about Kareem and people like that, for example, or having Magic Johnson, they all have these contracts, but they last a certain amount of time. Once the contract comes up, they go, okay, anyone else can offer the same amount of money or more. And you go, hang on a minute, they're my asset that I've won I've won championships with. I want to keep them. I should be allowed to offer them more. And that's what bird rights came on. So the incumbent team is allowed to offer them more money than any other team. No one else can.
Oh, wow.
So that still stands today. But that was created for Larry Bird because they were trying to keep him in the Celtics. And they went, hang on a minute, if someone else can offer him more money, and that's not right because we've taken him as a rookie, we've won championship with him. Why can't we afford to keep our superstar?
Yeah. And
so that's where that rule's come out. Fast forward now, like 40 years, that's why you're getting these contracts that are like 6 years and 180 million and stuff. That's why you're getting all these sort of contracts, because the superstars, if they want to keep them, they can offer them these supermax contracts. And the only person who can offer supermax is the incumbent team, birds rights.
Well, there you go, Mark.
Yeah.
A great stat. There you go. Well, I've got a stat for you as well.
Yep.
For the first time since 1955, the finals implemented a 2-3-2 format with games 1 and 2 in Boston.
This is the one, is it?
While the next 3 games were in LA. The final 2 games of the series would be played in Boston if required.
What do you prefer? What format do you prefer?
What would I prefer? I think, didn't they... I know I heard people say they kept it like that because of the media and all that and the travelling and all of that, but...
I think the way it is now is better myself.
2-2-1-1-1.
Yeah.
I think, with the 2-3, you can... I mean, you only need to steal one of those first games and you got 3 at home, so maybe. But I thought this was really interesting, that the change of the format came after David Stern had a conversation with Celtics legend Red Auerbach in 1984, who disliked the frequent travel between games. The 2-3-2 format would be used until 2013.
Yeah, it was around for a long time.
So
long time.
I mean, Red Auerbach looks like he was always looking for that edge, wasn't he? Yep. You go to Game 7, they won it in Boston.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it would have been in Boston anyway, wouldn't it? 2-2-2, 1-1-1. Yeah, so you might Game 6 would have been in the Forum. So, going into the conference finals, Game 1, Celtics, and this is at the Garden. Celtics defeat the Lakers 148-114, and it was dubbed the Memorial Day Massacre. And it was a profound embarrassment for the Lakers team.
Yep.
Kareem had 12 points, 3 rebounds. Magic, 1 rebound. Danny Ainge scoring 15 points in the first quarter. Scott Wedman, 11 shots from the field. Afterwards, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar apologized to his teammates for his personal terrible performance. So the 34-point difference was it set a new record for NBA Finals game between the Celtics and Lakers in their rivalry, and that record stood until 2008, Mark, when the Celtics defeated the Lakers 131-92.
Wow.
Now, look, when we get to games 2 and 3, this is when the mindset of the Lakers kicks in. They're not losing these games. They win at the Garden, get out of there. They're now in the Forum for the next 3 games. So exactly what I was saying. You can steal 1, you got 3 at home. They go up 2-1 in the finals.
Yep.
They go up 2-1s in the finals. I'll just, hang on, bear with me 2 seconds. So, game 3,
yes,
Kareem becomes Lakers' top scorer of all time.
All right.
So the Lakers' personal top scorer of all time.
Yep.
And I just going back to something that I said a moment ago, about Larry wins MVP.
Mm-hmm.
You got to look at Magic's mindset now and like, look, you've won MVP.
Yeah.
I want to say he emphatically won that. Is that right? I know you got that in front of you. Can you see the stats there?
No,
I want to say that Larry
here,
won it and Magic got like 1 vote.
Yeah, it was just a complete almost.
So Magic's mindset was like, right, I'm getting that.
Yeah,
you can have that. I'm going to get this. I'm sure I've heard him say that. Anyway, so the Celtics do claim Game 4 in the Forum, but with the help of Kareem, Magic, the Lakers achieved the first NBA Finals victory over the Boston Celtics in 9 meetings, 4-2 games. The Lakers recovered after that Game 1 rout, and the series was the last time that the NBA World Champion Series branding would be used as the NBA Finals branding.
Wow, that's interesting.
From that moment, it would be known as the NBA Finals rather than the NBA World Championship Series.
Oh, really? How interesting is that? Because of all that nonsense that we had about, what was it, 6 months ago? When they got booted.
They still say, we're world champions.
Yeah, and everyone's like, no, you're not. You lost in your FIBA.
I saw a meme on social media. Might have been Facebook. It made me laugh, and it said, what Americans think the world is. And it was just like a picture of the map of America. But yeah. But look, there is an argument to say when you have got arguably the best league and everyone is being drawn to it, could you say that team is the world champions? I think that's the argument. I'm just trying to push something the other way there. But
I mean, it's worth mentioning this season that you're talking about here, LA have just won. In complete side note, but the rookies of that year, the all rookie team for the All-Star team included names like Michael Jordan, Akeem Olajuwon, Charles Barkley.
Ooh.
Just happened to be rookies that year.
I just thought of a really good podcast.
It's the same thing again. It's like that whole Byron Scott thing with a transition. You're getting, these are players who are in their prime. You've got Larry in their prime, Magic, they're coming in their prime. And then you've just getting the rookies of these players who, Akeem, arguably one of the greatest centers ever. Jordan, arguably the GOAT. Barkley, one of the best power forwards to ever play. Like, they're all just constantly coming through, wave after wave after wave. It's like, and yet that's slowed down a bit these days.
Well, I just
whereas in the 80s, you're just it's just every 3 or 4 years you're getting this different level of talent. It's unbelievable.
Well, a great podcast could be what is the greatest draft of all time. That's a good podcast. Isn't
it? Blimey.
We don't need to go into it now. This is about Showtime Lakers, but that's something we could do. So the Lakers beat the Celtics and are now 1-for-9 against Boston. So when you say it like that, when you say it like that, that's how the Laker fans they wanted that so badly, beat Boston. They're now 1-for-9. It's the first time and the only time until 2022 in the NBA Finals history where the other team has clinched the championship against the Celtics in Boston.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was also only the Celtics' second final series defeat, having previously lost to St. Louis Hawks in 1958. Boston don't lose in the finals.
Certainly not in the Garden. That was the Garden at that point.
They lose in the Garden. That
was the original Garden.
That's the Garden. That's So, that's the one thing I just want to highlight is Boston are an absolute juggernaut.
Yeah, I mean they had 10 championships or something at that point, or whatever it was, 8 championships under their belt previously from the 60s or whatever it was. They were it was silly, wasn't it?
Well, here you go. After appearing and winning both the 1981 and 84 NBA Finals, this Finals championship marked the first loss for Larry Bird-led Celtics. Boston would appear in 2 more NBA Finals before the decade was over, winning it all the next year, only to lose in a rematch to the Lakers in 87. I just did a spoiler!
Oh, my God.
But it would take the Celtics another 22 years before they'd make another NBA Finals appearance.
Yep.
So, yeah.
That's with Paul Pierce in it.
Again, it was against the Lakers. So,
yeah.
So the Lakers now are 1985 champions of the NBA. And I'm just going to go back. I want to highlight this every time. They've won 3 championships in 6 years.
Yep.
They've got to the finals 5 times in 6 years.
You can't be mad at that, can you?
No. But again, that's why I highlight that fact 1 for 9 against Boston, because Lakers fans are that's what their whole mindset is. It's like, man, like they don't, even though they had a great team, it's the Boston they want to beat, because Boston have beaten them so much in over the last decade. So moving on, Mark, we're halfway through this podcast.
Like, honestly,
and my
everyone,
voice is going.
He turned up and he said, "I've written notes." I was like, "Okay," and he got out. It looked like a manuscript. It was like, "Oh, was this a screenplay? What we doing?" 12 pages of notes.
20 pages of notes.
Oh God, I thought it was 12. You said, "Oh,
you're about halfway." Look, I'm gonna flick through this because I don't want to go and we'll go quick, Mark. So the Boston Celtics, the Lakers are now the champs. Right, 1985-86 season. The Lakers hoped to repeat as NBA champions after sweeping the Spurs in 3 games, then defeating the Dallas Mavericks in 6 games.
See, Dallas comes up all the time.
And but they were unable to defend their title because they lost in the conference finals, Mark, against Houston.
Yes, they did.
The Rockets go on to lose against the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals 6 games. Now, look, you got to talk about Houston at this point. They were a young team, and let me just go back and have a look at that. Yeah, the Houston had a grueling game against a series against Denver as well. I got a great quote about this, and I want to say this sums up the season. And this quote is from Pat Riley. So this is the first time the Lakers haven't got to the NBA Finals in 1, 2, 3, 4. This is in 4 years they've been in the finals. This is the first year in 4 years they've not got there. 5 years, sorry. Riley says, he goes, there are a lot of questions while awaiting the start of an afternoon session. He says, a lot of people out there want to know what happened. Well, it doesn't matter. It's not that I don't care, but it doesn't matter any longer. The Rockets played harder and longer than we did, and that happened. Now we have to correct that.
That's a great quote.
Our problem was we suffered from complacency during the regular season. It's a disease, an insidious disease. Some of the players take the attitude that they'll wait until the players to get it going. When you take that attitude, you're setting yourself up for failure. If you're going to be mediocre for many months, you are going to be mediocre when it counts. The players have conned themselves for too long that the regular season is too tiresome, that they have to save themselves for the playoffs. They have to get that out of their minds and come back with a clean attitude. You learn nothing from success. You learn from failure. What an amazing quote that is.
Wow. I mean, he tore on one there, didn't he?
Yeah.
Complacency. Waiting on your laurels. Blimey. Pat didn't hold back there.
And they lose in that conference finals. They lose 3 times in the Forum.
Oh, yeah. It was... They just got spanked. There was no way around it.
Oh, sorry. No. They lose... Sorry, they win game 1. They win game 1 in the Forum. Then they lose
the next 3.
2.
Oh.
Then they lose the next one.
Yep.
And they lose the last one when it comes back to the Forum.
Did you know that year? My interesting fact for that year.
Is it about the Mavericks?
No.
What was it about?
I can give you one for the Mavericks.
No.
Detlef Schrempf, first German player from Europe to go over. They went to the Mavericks. But that wasn't it. It was the backboard. The height of the backboard was shrunk by 6 inches. How weird's that? So the backboard, as it is now in the NBA, that was the year that they changed it. So the backboard as it is now is exactly the same dimension.
Oh, right. Yeah, it has to be everyone's
height.
backboard is the same size.
Yeah. Yep. Well, of course, it's rule regulation, isn't it? But backboard height is shortened by 6 inches to the present 42 inches.
Wow. There you go.
Who knew?
So there you go, Mark. Did you like that quote from Pat Riley?
Pat, great.
This was a shocking defeat for the Lakers. Didn't even make the playoffs.
No.
Let me just say that again. Pat Riley says, "You learn nothing from success.
Yeah.
You learn from failure." That's a great quote.
Cool.
And look, the Boston Celtics and a current champions again
Yep.
in the 1986 finals. They have now won 3 with Larry Bird. Larry Bird has got his 3 championships.
And he won the MVP as well, didn't he?
So now we're moving on to the 1986-87 season with the Showtime Lakers.
Yeah.
My voice is going. That's how much. Oh my goodness. Look how many notes I've got, Mark.
Are you kidding? It's like 7 sheets of... This is
left.
typed out. 7... Oh.
Look, Showtime Lakers deserve this. You wanted Showtime, I'm giving you Showtime. I love LA. Anyway, right. Where were we? Oh, yeah, so the 86-7 season coming off from a shocking defeat to the Houston Rockets. They won. I said they won that first game, but yeah, they don't make the playoffs. The highlight of the season, the Lakers return to the NBA Finals, Mark. I'm just marking up. I got a diagram. There's so many.
I thought that was a pause for something.
There's so many championships here. Look at that. That's how. Look, that's it. You got. It's difficult to stay up who's in where, but there you go. Oh. Right, season ends. They win 65 games, 17 losses. They are back in the conference finals, and they are meeting the Boston Celtics. This is the 3rd and last time these teams will meet. This is the last time the Showtime Lakers will meet the Boston Celtics.
Yep.
So what did I say? Lakers finished regular season 65-17. I said that. Pat Riley had made a strategical move, Mark. I know you like this. He's shifting the offensive focus to Magic Johnson. Lakers acquired center Mychal Thompson for a trade midway through the season.
Yep.
Both moves helped elevate the load off the aging Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who had just turned 40 during the playoffs.
I mean, that's insane, isn't it?
And you got AC Green supplanting Kurt Rambis in the starting lineup. He's a big dude.
I mean, that is a big team. We've talked about small ball, big ball. The early 80s, they're huge players.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But I believe the Lakers at this time, their smallest player was 6'6".
That's crazy.
Actually, no. Byron Scott would have been 6'3". He's the smallest player. The next one's 6'6".
Yeah.
Everyone else is 6'7", 6'8", 6'9".
Yeah, big team.
Don't forget, Kareem is 7'2".
Yeah, they're a big team.
During the Lakers, they beat Denver, they beat Golden State, and They sweep the Seattle Supersonics in the conference finals. I'm getting the finger from Mark. That's good, isn't it? Now, this is the team that have now developed into something. And this is the team I want to talk about. The 1987 Lakers team is arguably both Magic Johnson's best team and one of the greatest teams in NBA history.
Yep.
Besides having Magic Johnson, who is MVP this year instead of Larry Bird, as you highlighted.
Yep.
Kareem is, I guess, late prime. But the Lakers have got lots of scoring options.
Yes.
And again, with Pat Riley focusing on defense, remember? No rebounds, no rings. He has Defensive Player of the Year, Michael Cooper, which is why when you said who was Defensive Player of the Year, I thought of him straight away.
Yeah.
And yeah, you got big guys in the Lakers who can, put a body on McHale and Parrish in the Celtics. So the Lakers are coming off a 4-game sweep of the Seattle Supersonics. And this really ties in with our Bad Boys episode. The Lakers have got Detroit in their conference finals. Now, that is a grueling 7-game series. Don't you think?
That's horrible.
This is when Detroit are just everything they can do to get past the Celtics. Unfortunately, they can't get past the Celtics this time. And it's Lakers and Boston in the final. And this was a really interesting final for mindsets, I thought.
So you were correct, by the way. And I looked it up.
Oh, yeah.
Michael Cooper, Defensive Player of the Year, 86-87.
Yeah, why would I be wrong?
Wow. I'm just saying. that he actually won that award. So when you said that's his first name that came to mind. This year we're talking about, that's the year he won it. And obviously with good reason.
So, look, Mark, going to this playoffs, this is mental. It's one of the series for the ages.
Before you go to the playoffs, let me just put a context on this season. Because you know, this season was Michael Jordan Wilt Chamberlain as that second player in history to score 3,000 points in a season, which is, ridiculous, quite frankly. He was the top scorer for the whole season. It was also, we've mentioned Dr. J. This was the season he retired. So this was his last season. Julius Erving, that's it. No more. So that whole Philadelphia 76ers, that run that they'd given LA and given Boston, that was it. That was done now. So this was the final one. And Michael Jordan won his first dunk competition this year. So 1986-87, that was Jordan's first dunk competition. And he won it in Seattle. Boom.
Wow. Well done, Mark. Don't forget, this is about Showtime Lakers.
It's about everything is about Seattle.
Right. We're in the playoffs. Let's get through this. We're in the playoffs. The Lakers versus the Boston Celtics. And this time the the Los Angeles Lakers have home court advantage. They win their first 2 games in the Forum. And then they go to the Boston Garden, lose game 3 in the Boston Garden. So now 2-1 up with 2 games in Boston. And this is what I wanted to highlight. After game 3, Larry says, he's talking about game 3. This game was the most important game of the series for us. If we lost, it might have been tough to get up for game 4. Now it's going to be easy.
Yeah.
Wow. Game 4 is huge. Game 4 is huge. LA win by 1. 107, 106. I mean, I I think in this game you have got what is the play that people refer to in this series. This is the one where Celtics do a switch and it ends up with Magic. I think McHale picks him up. And he's like, oh, I got Kevin McHale on me, I'm going. And this is the one where he drives to the top of key and does that little sky hook.
Does the little sky hook.
Yeah, that's that one. But the Celtics still have one more chance. And this is the one where they get to Bird on the line and he's like wide open and he shoots and just goes in and out. And that's the one that Pat Riley was like, that is so straight as an arrow. I thought that was in and rims out. He's like, wow. Yeah, the shot barely missed. That's how it's documented. And the Boston crowd let out a collective groan as the Lakers bench danced off the court to celebrate the victory. The win gave the Lakers a commanding 3-1 series lead. 3-1 series lead. And don't forget, they've only got one more game in Boston and they're going back to the Forum. And this is what I thought was really interesting. And I think it was Game 5, Boston win.
Yes.
Game 6, they're back at the Forum. Lakers aren't losing that. Lakers win, and like they win by like 10 or 13, something like that. But the real interesting thing after this is you got two guys who don't really like each other. And Bird says, I'm quoting here, Magic is a great basketball player. And then he kind of pauses for a little bit and he says, the best I've ever seen. So and I think a lot of Boston fans were like, what? What did he just say?
Yeah.
He's just said Magic is great.
Yeah.
And that I think I could be wrong here, but I think that's the first time he's actually openly commented on what he thinks about Magic. Don't forget, behind the scenes, Bird is looking at the stats of what Magic's done the night before, and that's motivating him. It's motivating him for years. And like, what's Magic doing? What's Magic doing?
And also, I think you've got to put in a bit of context with Magic was very, very outward and very bold, very loud and very jovial, should we say. Larry is quite a reserved person. Like the way he holds himself.
Maybe not on a basketball court.
No. But what I was about to say, when he holds himself, or like interviews or that sort of stuff, he just seems very like he doesn't show his passion in the same way that Magic would. But he was one of the worst trash talkers.
Yeah, I was about to say he was like the worst,
and just would say the most awful things and just.
Well, Bird was like,
I'm going to take that shot. I'm going to go down here, turn left.
Yeah, he would tell them what he was going to do.
I'm going to do that, and I'm going to score on you, and you're not going to do anything about it. And they're like, what? And they'll go and do it.
Imagine the psychology behind that. I'm going to get around you, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to score there, and then he does it, and you're like,
I'm going to pretend to fake it that way, but then I'm going to go this way, and then he does it, and the guy's like, so I know he's going to go there, but you still can't stop him. It's sickness. I'm going to say something controversial on this one.
Oh yeah.
I think Celtics had a much harder ride to get to that final because they had 2 7-game series to get to that final, because they had a 7-game against Milwaukee and then they had a 7-game against Detroit.
And don't forget, Detroit are the bad boys, and you'll get that's a 7-game
emergence
grueling.
Yeah. So they've had Boston. So they've played Chicago, then they played Milwaukee, then they played. Whereas LA, you go, who did they play? Well, they played Denver, swept them. Then they played Golden State 4-1, nothing. Then they played Seattle and absolutely wiped the floor with them. They had the easiest ride. So then they get to the final. They're fresher.
Yeah.
They've played less games and they're just fresher.
Well, there is something hugely controversial here.
Yeah.
That happens after.
Okay.
So what happens now is they've just won their championship. So just to put this in perspective, in 8 seasons, LA have now won the title 4 times. Out of those 8 seasons, they've got to the finals 6 times. Don't forget, your owner has only had the team for 8 seasons. You've got 4 championships, 6 NBA final appearances.
Which means you've won the conference finals 5-6 times anyway, at least.
6 times.
Yeah.
6 times. Hang on, let me just see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 times. So they're having their big tour celebration thing. Pat Riley goes up to the microphone and turns around and says, I guarantee you we're going to do it again next year. I guarantee you. Now, all the players are looking like, what did he just say? Yeah. Did he just say that? Kareem is the one I think is quite funny. He's like, I can't believe he just said that. The pressure he's now put us under. And like, he's really taking that in. And let's go straight into, let's go straight into the 1987-88 Showtime Lakers season. By the time they'd finished their season, they had played an NBA record of 106 games, including 24 playoff games.
Yep.
Winning 77 and losing 29. They were 62-20 in the regular season. The Lakers won the Western Conference title without losing a game and entered the NBA Finals as heavy favorites.
I mean, that's just ridiculous stat. 62 wins that whole season. That's absolutely ridiculous. You are looking perplexed.
I've got my years mixed up on my notes, Mark. That's why.
Okay.
So anyway, look, right. I don't know. I think I've lost the paper somewhere, but I know this one off the top of my head. So this is the Lakers versus the Detroit Pistons. Now this is the first. We talked about this on the Bad Boy episode. Yeah. This is the first time we talked it from the Pistons' perspective through trying to get past this Boston. They finally do it. They've got past that juggernaut, and now they're up against the other juggernaut from the West, the Lakers. And this is where Magic and Isaiah are like, hey, we're buddies. And, they have that weird kiss at the start of game one. It's like, what was that about? But Magic shows he's not. A championship comes for mates. Remember that forearm? Boom on Isaiah. And then Isaiah pushes him. Yep. That's kind of like sets the tone.
Yeah.
Now this finals is, this is massive. This is a 7-game series. So the Lakers have got home court advantage. But Detroit win game 1 in the Forum. Lakers win game 2. They go to the Silverdome, the one you liked to talk about.
Yep.
They win in the Silverdome. It's now 2-1. They lose the next 2 games and are down 3-2. Lakers are down 3-2 against Detroit. And I'm kind of just heading towards game 6 because this is the one that we all think about, which is arguably the single most individual greatest moment in the performance of a player who's injured. And this is where Isaiah comes down, rolls his ankle. And again, he just goes to that place. But then he comes on. I think it's the third quarter? He scores 25 points. And you've got to argue that is one of the greatest performances of a player.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%.
I mean, it's top 5. It's got to be top 3 at least on an injured. For me, it's the top performance for an injured player.
Yep.
And then I know all the Detroit fans call this the phantom foul, but all the Laker fans are going to say that Bill Laimbeer did foul Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah.
And so what happens is you have this foul. Lakers win game 6. They win game 6 by 1 point.
Yep.
That foul is right at the end of the 4th quarter.
Mm-hmm.
If that foul doesn't get given, you have to argue the Detroit are NBA champions. And I think personally, if that foul doesn't get called, they win 3 championships in a row. You got to talk about that. However, the foul does get called, and that's where I guess your reputation comes before you.
Oh, 100%.
With Bill Lane Beer. Yeah. I heard someone say the ref didn't call the foul because it was a foul. He called it a foul because of the 2,000 things before that or something like that.
Yeah, 100%.
But, and you know, and this, you're now going to game 7. Isaiah is gone. Isaiah is injured. Okay.
Yeah.
What are you going to do if you're playing a game of basketball for the NBA championship and you can see one of their players is injured? You're going to use it to your strength, aren't you?
You got to. You have to go at them.
They're going at them. They're going. You know, Isaiah is not a threat in that. He is done. The Lakers defeat the Detroit Pistons, winning their fifth title mark.
Yep.
In 7 outings to the NBA Finals. Their 5th title in 9 seasons. And I will do a little spoiler alert now. It is their last championship title as the Showtime Lakers. So the Showtime Lakers have won 5 championships now. And what was really funny I liked about this was... and also, you got to say, these are the first back-to-back championships that have been won since the 68-69 when Boston did it.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to think, was that against LA? Did they win that against LA? I'm not sure. Anyway, so what is quite funny during the celebrations is some of the players are gagging Pat Riley. So the year before, he's like, I guarantee you, like as he's going to go up and talk, some of the players like get putting stuff around his face to like, so he can't say anything. But the crowd are going 3. No, I don't think they're saying 3P. I can't remember, but the crowd are chanting 1 more, 3P or something like that. So that was that. That is the last title.
James Worthy, LA, wins the Finals MVP.
Yeah, I mean, like if you look through those games, game 2, 3, 6, and 7, he was the highest scorer for the Lakers.
He recorded the first ever Game 7 triple-double, 36 points, 16 rebounds, and 10 assists.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know how many assists he had. I knew he had 16 rebounds.
Yeah, 10 assists and 36 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, unbelievable. And that season as well, MJ, only player in history to accumulate 200 steals, 100 blocks in a season twice in a row. He's also the only player in history still to have won the scoring title, plus Defensive Player of the Year title, and also the only player in history to combine both of those with winning the MVP of the season as well.
Yeah.
And that's like his 3rd season or something. It's ridiculous. Oh, and he won the dunk competition as well.
He did all right, Mark.
Yeah, not too bad.
But this is about the Showtime Lakers.
I know.
We'll do one about Jordan another time.
Okay.
Anyway, right. So, what was I saying? Celebrations, players were gagging Riley.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't promise a 3rd title, but the crowd were chanting it. So now we're in the 88-89 Showtime Lakers season. And they enter this season as 2-time defending NBA champions. They won 15 out of their first 18 games.
Yep.
And they finished 57-25, earning them the top playoff seed in the Western Conference. They go undefeated, sweeping Portland 3-0. Beat Seattle 4-0. Beat Phoenix Suns 4-0.
Blimey.
And the Lakers are seen as favourites in the 1989 NBA Finals rematch against the Detroit Pistons. who they defeated in a hard 7-game series the year before. Now, this is a talking point, Mark.
Yes.
This is a big talking point because whilst Detroit are taking on the Celtics, the Bucks, and Michael Jordan and the Jordanettes, Detroit take on the Bulls in a six game conference finals. Yeah?
Yep.
The LA Lakers have got 9 days off while they're waiting for whoever they're going to meet. Yeah? They're waiting for Pistons or Bulls in the finals. Pat Riley decides to have training sessions. And this is the controversial thing. Pat Riley makes the most. He has these training sessions that have Magic Johnson, James Worthy, all the big players turning around saying, that is the hardest training session I've ever had in my life. And what does he do the next day? Same thing again. And they're walking off. That is the hardest training session I've had in my entire life. And his mentality, his mindset is, we can't, there's 9 days, like we're waiting for whoever we're playing. Like, we can't take our foot off the gas. So that's Pat Riley's mentality in that moment. And what happens? The series starts. It's Detroit once again.
Yep.
They start to get injured. So you've got, where is it? Oh man, I wrote all the injuries. Where is it? I can't see it. Anyway, look, I think it was Byron Scott gets injured during the warm-up in game 1.
Oh, you don't want to do that. That's not ideal.
In the warm-up, he gets injured. And I want to say, I think it is in game 2 where Magic Johnson gets injured. He's out.
Yeah, I remember. He was out.
He pulls out. He does that. He's kind of holding on his,
wasn't he?
like, what muscle is that?
Hammy.
He's holding on his hamstring, like as he's running up the court, and then that's it. He's done. Now with and this is why I highlighted, with the same mindset the year before, where the Boston Celtics saw Isaiah injured and they just went, "We're going for it. We're getting the title." Yeah. Like Detroit are going to do the same thing. They're going to say, "Right, the head of the snake is gone. Bam, we're going for it. You haven't got Byron Scott. You haven't got Magic Johnson. We're going for it." And the Detroit Pistons sweep Showtime Lakers.
They do
4-0, and Detroit get their first championship.
First chip. Yep. And if you want to hear all about that, go listen.
I was going to say that because this is the one where there's a great story.
Yeah,
I think about Joe Dumars.
About yeah.
It's a really good story about Joe Dumars in this final.
Go check it out. It's about 20 episodes back, something like that.
Or just type Bad Boys, you'll see it.
Yeah.
So the Lakers lose this.
And the team's been together a while now, haven't they? They're old heads to a certain point.
Yeah, so after this season, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar announced his retirement at the age 42 after 20 seasons in the NBA. I actually, just thinking back, I think he announced it and had like a see you later season, if you know what I mean. I did. Oh yeah, on his retirement tour, he received standing ovations at games, both home and away, and gifts ranging from a yacht that said Captain Skyhook to framed jerseys from his career to a Persian rug. At the Forum against Seattle in his final regular season game, every Laker came onto the court wearing Abdul-Jabbar's trademark goggles.
Can you imagine that? You go, these things they're giving me, they're ranging, they're going up now, and I've just got a yacht. You're like, how am I going to top this? And some guy comes out with a rug. You're like,
a Persian rug?
Hang on, I just got a boat in the last place.
Yeah,
but
well, he got jersey. He got jerseys. Here's a jersey.
Here's a jersey. I don't want a jersey. Goggles. I wear them. I don't need them. a yacht. Now we're talking. Get on that.
Well, at the time of his retirement, he held the record for the most career games played in the NBA. I'm going to go back and say in all these seasons, you look at how many games he played. I'd say 76 is probably the least he's done. But he's playing like 76 to 82 games per season. He also is the all-time record holder for most field goals made, 15,837, and most minutes played, 57,446, as well as most points, 38,387, until current Laker LeBron James breaks the record, 2023.
That's 88, 89, isn't it? That season you're talking about, where he's retiring.
88, 89.
Yeah. So that was also the year that Charlotte Hornets and the Miami Heat entered the league. That was their first year. Because it had all been agreed the year before or whatever. But
yeah.
So now you got like 25 teams in the league.
And this is going back. This is the point I wanted to raise. You said something and I went, I got it coming up, and I found my point. This was just something I wrote down. I just said, I think when you're talking about the 80s Pistons, the Detroit Bad Boys, when you're talking about the Philadelphia 76ers, I feel they're a bit overshadowed by the absolute dominance of the Lakers and the Celtics. A bit in the same way of the Houston Rockets with Hakeem in the 90s with the Bulls.
Yeah.
Not that anyone is arguing about those teams being great, but they're almost like an afterthought.
Oh, 100%. Like, 76ers won in 83. Like, what? Why would they win? They had Julius Erving. They had some great players. What, Dr. J? Oh, okay, yeah, maybe I can see. It's like, and what? Before that they were in the finals as well, and before that they were, they were competing.
Yeah,
they're competitive teams, but they just
it's
between.
You're between two juggernauts, and I mean that's why we did the Bad Boys episode, because in between the dominance of the Lakers and the Celtics, you then had the Bulls, but those glorious years of the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah.
But again, I can't help feel the same way about the 76ers as
well.
I agree. Just that, that's why I wanted to come back, because that was a point that you raised. So the Lakers lose to Detroit, and the Bad Boys are now the current champions. And then we move into the dying ages, the dying years of the Showtime Lakers. And this one we'll do real quick. 89-90 season. You got Divac joins the Lakers.
Vlad Divac.
And let me just look. What happens? They don't make the NBA Finals.
No.
Lakers did not reach the Western Conference Finals. And it was like the longest run that there was NBA Conference Finals appearance. You were talking about that. How many times did they get to the Conference Finals? It was the longest run a team had stayed in the Conference Finals since Bill Russell's Boston Celtics in 1969. That's how dominant the Showtime Lakers were in the 80s. They got beat. Oh, that's what I was looking for. They got beat by 5th seeded Phoenix Suns in 5 games.
Yep.
Following this season, the legend Pat Riley resigns after 9 glorious seasons, and he's replaced by Mike Dunleavy.
Yep.
He then goes on to coach New York Knicks.
Yeah.
And where's he go then?
Miami, famously.
Miami, yeah, because he
built the famous rivalry between Miami and...
Does he win it as coach there?
Yeah.
In 2006? 3 or 6?
Yeah. Well,
are you looking it up?
He was there from 90. I'm looking. It's 95. I was about to say it's 96, 95. Pat Riley. He was in New York from 90.
No. When does he win a championship again? I think it's 2006 with Miami, isn't it?
Let me check. But I thought it was 2003. But let me double check.
Well, it's 3 or 6. So he's won one in. What did we say? 72, 79.
Yep.
Which one?
Hang on, let me look. God, you're literally telling me. I'm trying to look one thing up.
Whilst you're doing that, so he wins in the 70s.
Right. As a head coach, he's won in 82, 85, 87, 88 as a head coach.
Assistant coach in 80, because that was the first one. Yep.
Assistant coach in 1980, first one, yep. 2-time NBA champion as an executive. So that's 12 and 13.
That's with LeBron.
Yep. And
when the championship?
2006.
Six. Okay. Yeah. So that, and he's coached there.
Yep.
Yeah. So hang on. So he's what year did he win as a player? 72. 72. So 72, you get assistant coach, 1, that's 2. Another 4 as head coach, that's 6.
5. 82, 85, 87, 88, and 2006.
Yeah, I'm done 2000. So 2006, that's 7.
Yeah.
Then 2 as an executive. So he's got 9.
Yeah.
9. Yeah. And I think when he won as an executive, he got NBA Executive of the Year in one of those.
That's right, as well, which is the one before those 2 that he won. So then it's 10.
I mean, look, he's up there with.
But you know why he went.
With Jackson, isn't he?
Not to pin it off, but you know why he went from from New York to Miami. It was quite famous because he did really well, and then he took New York, and you got to think New York at this time. To put that context, we're talking about storied things. In New York, you had like
a great team.
New York, you had Ewing come through, massive guy, big presence. Starks. You had a few players underneath them, role players. They could have done something really well. But his contract came up, and he said, "Look, I can make them something. I want a piece. I want a piece of New York." And they went, "Nah, you can't have that." They were setting up in Miami at the time. And they went, "Yeah, of course you can have ownership in it." And Pat's like, "See you later, I'm off."
Wow. And
that's why Miami and New York have such a bad rivalry now. Because New York hate the fact that Riley just went, "All right, I'll do that." And ever since then, New York have done nothing. And look at what Miami have done since then.
Did New York go to the finals? I think they did, didn't they, in the 90s?
Once, yeah.
And they lost to Houston.
I believe so. Or
no one was getting past Jordan in the 90s.
No.
But when he retired, Houston won it 2 years. Bit like those 2 years that no one cares about because Jordan just dominated, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's, again, it's unfair, but...
I think it was New York, wasn't it? Indiana, did they get there?
No, they got knocked out by...
I know the rivalry between New York and Indiana was quite big.
And the same as Chicago and Indiana because they're both near in Illinois and stuff.
Well, Mark, look, I'm on my last piece of paper.
Yeah, do it. 1990, 1991.
So in the year that Detroit won their second championship, Magic gets the league's MVP for his third in 4 years.
That's right.
But there's a bit of controversy about this one in the voting. Charles Barkley was playing for Philadelphia. Johnson received fewer first place votes than Barkley, but totaled 636 points in the ballot compared to Barkley's 614.
Yeah.
What's that about?
I don't know. People might say they think it rigged, but they were like, it seems that they unfairly weighted it. It's a bit like nowadays. They've come back again about the whole voting thing because you know that the fans can now vote, can't they, for player of the season rather than just your peers. So they're saying, "Oh, hang on a minute, we've got all the fans are voting for some random dude who's been benched for the whole season because they think it's funny."
That is funny,
but they just wastes votes, doesn't it? So it's that sort of stuff. So
right, last season mark of the Showtime Lakers. 1990-91 Showtime Lakers.
I mean, you got to say, when you just say in 1990, by the way, you're saying MVP, and he's won MVP with Magic, like Finals MVP. That's going to Isaiah from Detroit.
Yeah, Isaiah wins Finals MVP that year. Yeah.
So my question would be, if you're a player, would you want to win Finals MVP or the season MVP?
If it was based purely on the look of the trophy, I love the
Finals MVP.
The finals MVP. No. The league MVP. The bit. I mean, it's as tall as half your body.
Yeah.
You see, like, these guys are big guys. It's like half the size of them.
It's probably our whole body compared to some of them. Yeah.
I love that trophy. Yeah. I know they're changing it now, but
I think, other than like you said, Jerry West, if you win Finals MVP, probably means your team won. To be fair, that's the only caveat I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but if I was basing it on the look of the trophy, I like the league MVP. But yeah, everyone wants to win. Everyone wants to win the last game of the season, don't they?
Yeah.
And only one team can win the last game of the season.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right, so what's going on here? So in 1991,
1990 to 1991.
Magic Johnson finishes second in MVP voting behind Michael Jordan.
MJ.
He'd been growing more and more stronger, more powerful, mentally prepared. Again, in the last dance, that whole focus on getting over Detroit and the bad boys.
Yeah.
And this is Michael Jordan's first time in the NBA Finals where he meets Magic Johnson.
I think the point in this, and we're talking about Showtime Lakers, the Showtime Lakers brought something to the league, the style in which they played and how they attacked and what they did. And then they had different adversaries because, let's be fair, the Celtics, who were one of their main rivals, weren't exactly athletic. We wouldn't call them an athletic team, as opposed to Magic and everyone who would run up and run down and all over the place. And Kareem was just like, really agile and everything like that. You wouldn't say Larry was super agile, for example, or quick moving. MJ, at this point, had those years getting beaten up by the bad boys. Now, in this season, his athleticism had just gone through the roof. You'd already seen that famous picture of him doing the dunk competition 2 years before. His physicality had changed. He'd got muscly. It was prime Jordan, wasn't it?
I would love to see prime 86, 87 Lakers take on 91 Bulls. I mean, that would be a good game.
Physically, that would be brutal.
By the time you get to 91 playoffs, Showtime Lakers are slower, they're less nimble.
Yep.
And the new coach, Mike DeLevy, his offense was based around more half-court sets. So the team, excuse me, my voice is going. The team had more focus, emphasis on defense.
Yeah, definitely.
We all know the story. We've all seen the Bulls, the last dance. So Bulls win this in 5 games. And Game 5 of the NBA Finals is the last finals game played at the Forum.
It is, yeah.
It's also Magic's last game before his retirement. As in November, that's when he gets the whole HIV thing happen. And he doesn't come back to play until 92 for the All-Star game, and then goes on for the Dream Team that summer.
Because he wasn't an active player at that point. A lot of people forget.
Yeah, I mean,
he wasn't in rotation.
How old is he? He's 36 at this point. 34, yep. 34, 36.
Yep.
No, hang on. He's 20. He's early 30s. And
he's at the point where you're going, okay, I've done this for enough years.
But he's taken the team to the finals still.
Yeah. No, that's what I mean. He's right on the edge of that.
And
this is where I can sustain it, sort of thing.
I mean, that 91 finals is a passing of the torch, I guess.
100%.
Because the Bulls have finally got over Detroit. Now they've beaten the other juggernaut as well. But you got to say,
because as we've said in the Detroit thing, the Detroit were the ultimate agitators. The way that the league was running at this point.
You don't have Jordan and the Bulls without Detroit.
No, you don't at all. And you got LA Celtics, LA Philly Celtics, Philly Celtics, and then Detroit come in and just shake the tree up. And that's what that sort of breaks that pattern.
And you got to say, when the Lakers win back-to-back championships in 87, 88, Boston have had to go to Detroit. They're having grueling series against those guys.
They are. And, you've got those players as well. Like Larry is at that point, he's played like 4 or 5 games in a season or something because he's got really bad back and he's not far from retiring at that point. So all of these players, they've just gone through their 10-year peak sort of thing.
Yeah. Actually, there was a weird moment for Magic in that finals. It's like a scary injury where there's like a clash and he just goes down and looks like he's passed out.
Yeah, he gets knocked down, doesn't he?
But my note for this one, age and injury caught up with the Lakers. Yeah. If fit and healthy, who knows what could have happened? And I've heard Byron Scott and Michael Cooper talk about this, and they're like, man, if we're fit and healthy for these finals, all of these finals, and they're very confident we're beating Detroit, we're beating Boston. I would go back and talk about when they lose to Detroit. Wonder if Pat Riley would put them through that, the training sessions with 9 days rest. He gets. I've seen him. He gets asked this question: would you do the same thing again? It's kind of a great answer because he's like, I'd have to look through my notes and tell you what I was thinking at the time. But look, he would ease up a bit. He loses 2 of his starters. But it's what I was going to say. One last thing to finish the Showtime Lakers off is, I know Magic comes back out of retirement. He comes back to the Lakers. It doesn't last long, but this is where there's a brief moment where the Showtime Lakers get injected back in to the Lakers, and they would call themselves the Lake Show.
Yes.
And Magic was then playing forward, and he was like, well, this is Showtime Lakers meets the Lake Show. But it doesn't last long.
No.
And he retires again.
I think that puts a full stop on how, not what you said about the age and everything catching up with people, but they'll retire and they'll go, oh no, I want to come back. I can still do it. And I think everyone gets it when you get to that certain point where you go, my brain can still think at that speed. I can still pass. I can still see that person making a cut. I still know that I can run this play. I can still spot that guy's dip in his shoulder, or he's got his weight on that foot so I can spring off and go that way. But the reality is they're like in their mid or early 30s. They don't have that quick step now.
Well, here you go, Mark. This is my last thing on this 3-hour special of the Showtime Lakers. You wanted it. You got it. The Showtime Lakers season lasted 12 seasons.
Wow.
That's how I've talked about it anyway.
Okay.
From 1979, when Magic came in, all the way to 1991, when Magic retires. That's how I've based on it. So 12 seasons, 5 championships, 9 NBA final appearances. And my last 2 points for you, I wrote, for 10 years, Magic and Bird were in the NBA finals. And for the most part, these players are playing 76 to 82 games in the regular season. And that's why the 80s are so huge. And it's Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, because look, every single finals, you got Lakers or Boston in there from 79 all the way to 1991.
Yeah.
Magic Johnson or Larry is in there like a 10-year period. And the Showtime Lakers were exciting. They changed the game on and off the court. Jerry Buss was a huge part of that, and it contributed to the rise of the NBA as we know it today.
Yeah, 100%.
Damn, my note's done.
That is your notes done. I mean,
that was like a lecture, wasn't it?
Tell me about it. But look at the Lakers now. Look at all their history. Look at how many banners they got. Look at how they're the second largest NBA franchise. I think they're the largest in terms of selling goods and so forth, for example. It's them and
Orlando Magic, yeah.
New York Knicks. But 10 years after Magic retired, they go on and start a new dynasty with Kobe.
Yeah, they don't return to the finals until 2000.
Yeah. And you got Kobe and Shaq for a bit. And then obviously later on, Kobe does it himself another couple of times, gets the 5 rings there.
That's a good story in itself, that one.
It is. But when you look at the reason that we've looked at Detroit, and the same reason that we looked at Lakers, and there are other teams that we can talk about. There's not many teams that are dynasties like that, where they have just, you can't talk about the basketball in the 80s and 90s without talking about the Lakers. You can't do it.
I think after this 3 hours, 15-minute episode, no one's going to want another one.
No, 100%. Disagree. I think everyone's going to want to know. But look, you could.
This took me 9 hours to prepare.
Listen, you could. I am the first person to say in the 80s, you could quite easily forget Dallas Mavericks. You could quite easily forget. They just an emerging team. You could quite easily forget Seattle. You could forget.
I think that was a better point if you said Philadelphia 76ers or Houston Rockets.
No, but what I'm saying is you could forget all of those teams,
Detroit.
But you can't forget Philadelphia because they were a winner in the 80s and they were a force in the early 80s. You can't forget New York. Look at New York. What did New York do in the 80s? Nothing. It's just one of those. Every single one, I say decade, but all that passing of the torch, it's always like new teams that are coming through. By the end of the 80s, you got to remember, you then have what is kind of what the teams are now, where you've got all 30 teams, because you have Orlando coming in 89, and I think who else was it came in? Was it Charlotte? She had Charlotte, Miami, Orlando, Minnesota.
Grizzlies?
No, Minnesota, the Timberwolves.
Oh, is that in this year?
And then you had Toronto and the Grizzlies came in for a bit, but then they changed and all those sort of things. But the roughly what the league is as it is now, that all of this is happening in the 80s. It's such a pivotal time with the change in the commissioner, the way that the commissioner, David Stern, at this point still now. Fast forward to today, they just released a bit of news that the current commissioner is going to extend his tenure probably another 5 years. It will just keep going on.
Yeah. Well, Mark, look. Which one is it? This one. You got to talk about the Showtime Lakers as one of the greatest teams arguably assembled in NBA history.
You do.
And hopefully that isn't coming across like a lecture. But there you go. There's Showtime Lakers.
A true dynasty. Well, thank you very much for staying with us. Bless you for staying this long. We've got some more of these coming up, and we've got loads more episodes. Please go back and have a check out. Please drop us an email, ukbasketballpodcast@gmail.com, or check out our Instagram, Facebook feeds. I have been Mark.
I am mentally tired after doing that one. I am Paul. Hello.